we're going to do multiplying and dividing examples. So these would be problems similar to what you learned on yesterday's video. In this section and on the second section of your homework, you should be using multiplication or division to solve the problems. Here's our first example. Don't forget to pause the video and write it down. This problem says, you walk dogs in your neighborhood after school. You earn $4.50 per dog. How many dogs do you need to walk to earn at least $75? So as we've done with the other problems, we're going to start by defining a variable. In this question, they want to know how many dogs do we need to walk? So that's what my variable is going to represent. I used D for the letter dogs. You can use any letter you want, doesn't matter. You can always use X if you want to. Next, I need to write my inequality. I always like to start with the total number. So the total amount of money that I'm hoping for is $75. So I'm going to write that on the right-hand side. We've learned in this class that the word per or the word each means that this number should be multiplied with your variable. So I'm going to multiply 4.5 times my variable, the letter D. The last thing I need to do is figure out the appropriate inequality. In this problem, I want to earn at least $75. That means I would be happy with 75, but I'd love to have more than that, so greater than or equal to. Again, it's really important that you have the right inequality. That's kind of what this whole test is about, is the inequalities. I would divide both sides by 4.5, and I get D is greater than or equal to 16.6. In these problems, it's important to check the context of the problem and not just blindly write down the answer that you got. In this problem, my variable is representing how many dogs I want to walk. I'm not going to walk 16.6 dogs. I can't walk 0.6 of a dog. No matter the size of the dog, I still am going to charge the same amount. So it's important in this problem that we're using a whole number for our answer and not the decimal that we got. We need to figure out the appropriate whole number. So with 16.6, I can either go low or high. Let's check both of them. If I go low, down to 16, I get 16 is greater than or equal to 16.6. Well, that's not true. So 16 is probably not where I want to start. If I go high and I try 17, 17 is in fact greater than or equal to 16.6. And so I feel pretty confident that if I walk at least 17 dogs, that I'll make the amount of money that I want to make. And then we write a sentence to that effect. You must walk 17 or more dogs. You also could have written, as I had said, you need to walk at least 17 dogs. So you can actually use the phrase from the sentence. For the next problem, I'd like you to pause the video, try it on your own. Don't forget to do all the parts. You need to define your variable, write an inequality, and write a sentence answer. When you're done, start up the video again and we'll check your work. Okay, let's check your work. Don't forget, for the variable, you don't have to use the same letter as me, but it does have to represent the same thing as what I'm representing. So my variable was C, but you could have used anything. And C is representing the amount of cases that they can buy. The inequality that I wrote is 10.68C is less than or equal to 50. In this problem, they can spend at most $50. That means that they can't go above 50, so we want a number smaller than 50. We could max out at $50, but we can't spend more than that. When I solved, I got this inequality. Now again, in this problem, we're not going to be buying a partial case, so we need to figure out whole numbers. Also, there is a limit to our whole numbers, so we're not going to buy a negative amount of cases, and so the amount of cases that we could buy is 4, or 3, or 2, or 1. And we stop at 1 because we're not going to buy 0 cases because then we're not actually buying anything, and we're not going to buy a negative amount. So remember on these word problems to make sure to check the context of the problem and make sure that your answer is appropriate based on the context. Your homework is in 2 parts. One part is the adding and subtracting, and the other part is the multiplying and dividing.